There's a moment at every airport when a quiet decision gets made about you, and almost nobody in the terminal notices it happen. A gate agent glances at a screen, sees one empty seat, and gives it away. The person who just lost that seat is usually 40 feet down the concourse, holding a fresh coffee, certain they still have plenty of time. They don't. By the time they reach the podium, the only thing left to hand them is an apology. Airports run on a hidden set of rules, and the travelers who understand them glide through the same terminals that leave everyone else sweaty, stranded, and stuck at the back of a very long line. Today, I'm handing you 8 of those secrets, the small signals experienced staff read every day, the clues that tell them when a flight is quietly falling apart, when a suitcase is about to be left behind, and when a small delay is turning into a cancellation nobody has announced yet. Stay with me all the way to the 8th one, because it's the secret that sounds completely backwards. It's the reason the travelers sitting closest to the gate are often in the worst possible spot in the whole airport. And once you understand why, you'll never do it again. Secret 1. Your departure time is not your deadline. It's the trap. You see departs 3:40 on your boarding pass, and somewhere in the back of your mind, 3:40 becomes the moment you need to be in your seat. Staff never read it that way. To them, 3:40 is when the aircraft is supposed to start moving away from the building, and a lot has to happen first. The door has to close, the jet bridge has to pull back, and the final head count has to reach the crew. On many airlines, boarding actually ends around 15 minutes before that printed time. And your seat can go to a standby passenger even earlier if you're not there when they need you. So, picture someone buying a coffee at 3:26, sure the plane doesn't leave for 14 more minutes. They stroll up at 3:31. The aircraft is right there through the glass, but the door is shut. That's one of the most painful conversations in any terminal, because the traveler is staring at the plane, assuming someone can just pop it open. Once a flight enters its departure sequence, reopening that door means fresh paperwork and another count. Staff work backwards from departure, and you should too. Find the airline's boarding cutoff, then set your own deadline 5 or 10 minutes before it. If the flight leaves at 3:40 and boarding ends at 3:25, then 3:15 is when you are standing at that gate. No exceptions. No, I've still got a few minutes. Before we go further, one quick thing that belongs right here. Everything I'm sharing today lives inside a resource I put together called the Senior Traveler Survival Manual. Every rule and every trick for flying with confidence. If that sounds useful, it's waiting for you at theterminaltraveler.com with the link in the description and pinned at the top of the comments. Now let's get back to it. Secret 2. Follow the airplane, not the flight number. The departure board can proudly say, "on time," while the actual aircraft meant to fly you is still sitting hundreds of miles away. Staff understands something most passengers forget. Your flight is one link in a long chain that started hours earlier. That same plane might have woken up in Dallas, flown to Denver, hopped to Phoenix, and only then turned into your evening flight to Seattle, and every delay it collected along the way rides with it. So, open your airline's app and hunt for a line like "incoming aircraft," "where's my plane," or "flight details." If the app hides it, a flight tracking site can usually show the plane's previous leg. Then compare 3 things: where that aircraft is now, when it's due to land, and when your flight is supposed to board. If boarding starts in 40 minutes but your plane is still parked in another state, that's worth watching. It doesn't promise disaster, but it tells you the schedule is fragile. Here's the trap. You see a 10-minute delay, wander off, and check out. Meanwhile, the airline finds a spare plane, restores the time, and boards at a new gate. Treat the incoming aircraft as your early warning system, not your permission to disappear. And remember, landed doesn't mean ready. That plane still has to taxi in, empty out, get cleaned, and get cleared before it's yours. I want to hear from you. What was the strangest delay you've ever experienced? Drop your story in the comments. I read them, and some of your stories are wilder than anything I could script. Secret 3. Your suitcase is running on a completely separate clock. Checking in on your phone does not mean your bag is checked in. Every airport has a baggage cutoff, and at many US airports, that's around 45 minutes before departure, longer for international flights. That deadline exists because your bag has its own journey: conveyors, screening, a sorting area, the right cart, then across the ramp to your plane. Hand it over too late, and it may not finish that trip safely. even if you personally sprint through security and make the gate. Before you leave home, peel off the old barcode stickers from previous trips. Those expired tags confuse the system. Keep one sturdy name tag on, and that's it. Keep your medication, ID, keys, charger, and anything you can't replace in the bag that stays with you, never the one you surrender. When the agent tags it, glance at the 3-letter code and check it matches your destination, because Portland could mean PDX in Oregon or PWM in Maine, and that mix-up makes for a very strange vacation. And keep that little baggage receipt. That's the number staff use if your suitcase decides to take a detour of its own. Secret 4. Security doesn't get busy slowly, it arrives in waves. Most travelers assume a checkpoint is simply crowded today or quiet today, like it's weather. Staff see the real pattern: banks of flights, airline schedules cluster, so a dozen departures might leave inside the same hour, pushing hundreds of people toward the same checkpoint at once. The line can look empty at 4:45 and become a wall of humanity by 5:05, and the same surge happens when international counters open, a cruise empties out, or a train unloads into the terminal. That's why arrive 2 hours early isn't one single rule. 2 hours before a sleepy afternoon flight and 2 hours before the first big morning rush are completely different animals. So do a little homework first. Check the airport's official site or the MyTSA app for wait times, hours, and which checkpoints are open. Not every checkpoint offers pre-check, and not everyone connects to your concourse. At some airports, a slightly farther checkpoint is dramatically emptier. At others, the wrong entrance strands you on the wrong side of security entirely. Confirm your checkpoint actually reaches your gate, then compare the lines when you arrive instead of joining the first one you spot. Suffering in that first snaking line is not, in fact, mandatory. By the way, if any of this is already making your next trip feel less stressful, a quick tap on the like button helps me get these in front of more nervous travelers. Back to it. Secret 5. Your gate number is written in pencil. Passengers treat the gate on their boarding pass like a hotel room number. Staff treat it like a rough draft. Gates change constantly. A plane arrives late, maintenance pulls one out of service, another flight overstays its spot, or a swapped aircraft needs a different kind of gate. One hiccup starts a terminal-wide game of musical chairs. One plane can't push back. The arrival meant for its neighbor gets moved, that bumps another, and by the time the ripple reaches you, your aircraft could be 3 concourses away, even though nothing is wrong with your flight. That's why staff keep glancing at the system, and why you should keep refreshing the app and the airport monitors, even when your printed pass says otherwise. If your gate changes, move first and ask questions later. Don't stand guard at an abandoned podium waiting for an explanation while the rest of the plane quietly walks to the new one. Head for the updated gate, confirm your flight number on the screen, then decide whether there's time for a snack. And never assume the new gate is close. At a giant hub, just 12 gates down can mean a train ride and 2 escalators. Secret 6. When a flight cancels, the winner isn't the person first in line. It's the person who starts solving it first. The moment a cancellation flashes up, most travelers do the same thing. Stare at the agent, then form a line behind the podium. But everyone in that line is fighting for the same shrinking handful of seats. And that inventory can vanish through the app, the website, and the phone line, while the crowd just stands there. The gate agent isn't hiding a spare plane in a drawer. So, the instant your flight cancels, open the app and look for self-service rebooking. Search the schedule yourself, and don't only check the next flight on your exact route. Look through different hubs. Get in the physical line while you do this, and call at the same time. Whichever channel solves it first wins. When you reach a human, be specific. Instead of, "What can you do for me?" try, "I can see flight 642 through Denver has 2 seats open. Can you protect me on that one?" And know your rights before the terminal turns into a campsite. In the United States, if the airline cancels or significantly changes your flight and you choose not to travel, you may be owed a refund. If you accept a new itinerary and fly, you generally give that refund up. For cancellations within the airline's control, some carriers also cover meals, hotels, or rebooking on a partner. Weather usually gets treated differently. Learn those lines while you're calm, not at midnight in a dark terminal. Secret 7. A legal connection can still be a terrible one. When you book, The system uses something called minimum connection time, the shortest layover the airline is willing to sell at that airport. Travelers see the number and assume it's a recommendation. It is not. That minimum assumes your first flight lands on schedule, you get off promptly, and you march straight to the next gate without a detour, not that you walk slowly, travel with grandchildren, or need a restroom. And it ignores geography. 45 minutes in one compact terminal is nothing like 45 minutes with a terminal train, passport control, a second screening, or a bus out to a remote gate. And that 45 minutes isn't even fully yours because the next flight's door closes before its printed departure. Say you land at 2 o'clock and your connection leaves at 2:45. Lose 10 minutes taxiing, 10 waiting to get off, 15 reaching the next concourse. And if boarding closes at 2:30, that 45-minute connection just gave you about 5 usable minutes. Before you book the shortest option, ask 4 questions. Do I switch terminals? Do I clear security again? Do I pass immigration or customs? And how often does the next flight run? If missing it means an hour's wait, you can gamble. If it means sleeping in the airport, buy a bigger cushion, at least an hour for a simple domestic connection at a big hub, and more once international steps are involved. The shortest itinerary on the screen is not always the fastest way home. Secret 8, and this is the one that sounds backwards. Never sit directly next to your gate. I know, you arrived early, you found the right gate, and every instinct says grab the chair closest to the podium so you couldn't possibly miss the call. But that immediate gate area is usually the loudest, most crowded, least comfortable corner of the whole concourse. It becomes a workspace. Agents need room for wheelchairs, families, crew, standby travelers, and everyone with a ticketing problem. Then boarding starts. A small mob whose group won't be called for ages stands up and crowds forward anyway. And now you're trapped in the middle of it. Those front row seats even give you worse information, not better. You catch scraps of conversation at the podium, but miss the actual announcements, because the speakers throw sound across the room, not onto the chairs beneath them. So, here's what to do instead. Confirm the destination and flight number on the screen, then settle a little farther back, near the next gate over, or just behind the main crowd. Stay close enough to see the display and hear the calls, keep the app open, set a timer for a few minutes before boarding, and drift back before your group is called. And if the seats around your gate suddenly empty out, don't relax into the new space. Check the monitor immediately, because that's often a gate change, not an invitation to enjoy the quiet. The sweet spot is close enough to react, far enough to breathe. So, there they are, the 8 signals that separate the travelers who move through an airport just with quiet confidence from the ones reacting to surprises all day. Almost none of them are about luck. They're about reading the same clues the staff read, a few minutes before everyone else does. Pick just one for your next trip, and the whole thing starts to feel less like something happening to you and more like something you're steering. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 8 are you actually going to use first? Drop the number in the comments, and if you've ever survived a truly ridiculous delay or a last-second gate change, I want that story too. Then stick around for the video on your screen right now, because it breaks down a few more small habits that quietly make flying harder than it needs to be.